Hi, hello friend. My name's Michelle if this is our first time meeting, and if you're anything like me, then you love the fall season. But you might already be feeling a bit overwhelmed or drained from the fall content out there, focused a little too much on consuming or buying the next seasonal trend. And it can feel like a little too much, sometimes a little unauthentic, and it just seems to be growing more and more each season. I just want to make it really clear that I don't think there's anything wrong with wanting to buy yourself a few seasonal items that you genuinely love and will use over and over again, but I do think it becomes a bit too much when we make fall purely about the excitement of consuming or commodifying the season completely. When we're buying and consuming just to feel some sort of excitement or because we don't have something that somebody else has. But do we really need another fall mug when we already have a cabinet full of fall mugs plus our everyday ones already? I really believe that we can still embrace and enjoy fall and all of its coziness without having to buy more decor, more candles, or even more clothing. That's why I wanted to share my thoughts and give some sort of mini guide to living a more intentional, cozy, and creative fall using simple things that you probably already have at home. So let's start with home and decor first, because I feel like this is the area that gets the most attention during fall. And instead of buying a brand new tote full of fall decor, because I know it can be so tempting, let's make the most out of what you already have from last season, because it should spark just as much joy this year. Take out your decorations from last year, rearrange them in new ways, look through anything in your home that has either texture or a warmer color palette. Just because it doesn't have a fall pattern on it, maybe like pumpkins or leaves, doesn't mean that it can't live in your space and add coziness into your home. I used to think that in order to decorate for fall, I really needed everything to have a pattern of either a pumpkin or leaf or bats or skeletons on it. And the truth is that I actually find it harder to decorate because of that. And I know it's so ironic because I have this pumpkin leaf throw with me right now and it's so soft and I absolutely love it, and I don't need to buy another one because of it. But if I could go back, I would have just gotten something more neutral so I could use it across all the seasons instead of just one. You can also make your own decor with materials you might already have lying around. If you have a ball of yarn that you haven't used for any projects, or maybe even half a ball of yarn, you can look up tutorials on how to crochet pumpkins. That's actually what I did with my pumpkins in the back right now. I had these balls of yarn that I had no idea what to make out of them for the longest time, and then decided to just crochet pumpkins out of them. And these pumpkins I made actually became my favorite fall decor because I know that I made them and I get to look at them every day. And it didn't cost me anything extra. You can also make an autumn jar or an autumn bowl by just filling them with acorns, pine cones, cinnamon sticks, anything that you find out in nature you can bring into your home, and it will bring in that element of coziness and texture really naturally. You can also use those same materials to make garlands or wreaths, and there's actually a surprising amount of things you can make with dried oranges. I was really surprised by all of the ideas I found on Pinterest. Something else that you can use to decorate your home and add in a personal touch or just some coziness is printing out a fall coloring page, coloring it obviously, and putting it on your fridge or on your wall. Some people might think that's really silly, but I like silly things in my silly home. You can use candles you already have or saved from last year, and if you don't have any seasonal candles, you can try a simmer pot by just simmering some apples, oranges, cloves, cinnamon sticks, or whatever else you have on hand. You can make your home smell incredible for hours without spending anything. Don't feel pressured to buy almost a $30 pumpkin spiced fall candle. just because it's a new season. Lastly, something easy you can do is just put on a fall playlist or some fall ambient music from YouTube with a cute fall backdrop and just have it playing in the background as you're getting ready for your day, winding down, as you're cleaning, doing your hobbies. It's a really simple and easy way to get into a fall cozy mood. So as you can tell from home and decor, the options are truly endless. You probably won't even be able to do everything before fall ends, and that's kind of awesome because you always have ideas for next year. Next, let's talk about food. Fall is such a great time to lean into those seasonal flavors, and you really don't need pumpkin spice pre-packaged items in order to do this. Honestly, I and you probably both have almost everything we need at home to make the most delicious fall staple items like pumpkin bread, banana bread, or my favorite, pumpkin chocolate chip cookies. We might just need to buy like a can of pumpkin puree, and that's really it. You can make these for yourself or as gifts for friends and family. Other really simple ways you can add in some of that fall seasonal flavor into your meals is by adding some pumpkin puree and cinnamon into your oatmeal or into your smoothies. You can also lean into making some more cozy soups, so like butternut squash soup, tomato soup, or even pho. Pho is such a great soup for the season. It already incorporates so many of those fall flavors into it, and if you're going to make it authentically, it will take forever, but I will leave a link to a video that I watched to kind of make a shortcut version. And I love to actually freeze my soups so that I have a full stock for when I am tired and just don't feel like making anything and just want to feel warm and cozy. Something that's also really simple to do is wait until you run out of something and then swap it for a seasonal item. So when you run out of coffee, then you can swap it for a seasonal blend. Or when you run out of creamer, you can swap it for a pumpkin spiced creamer instead. You can also swap your tea for a seasonal tea whenever you run out, or you could just add the spices yourself or make your own fall cozy drink with boiling some ginger and other spices. Fall is the perfect season to lean into your hobbies and is also my favorite thing to talk about. So let's start with the easiest. Books. We probably all have a book on our shelf or e-reader that we haven't read yet. So let's make this the season that we read at least one of the books that we already own. If you don't have any books, you can ask a friend to lend you one that they recommend. If you have any cookbooks that you haven't looked through in a while, now's the time to bring them out, flip through them, and see if there's anything in there that inspires you, that looks delicious, that you want to cook, and make a note of the ingredients you already have. For games and entertainment, play the games that you already have. I'll be honest, I only have a handful of like card games and board games, but I haven't played them enough to fully get my enjoyment and use out of them. And every time I do, I have a lot of fun. I also have digital games that I don't have a ton of. I only have like 2 that I regularly play, and one of those is Stardew Valley. And I'm finding that there is always something to do in that game, and it is the most coziest game I've ever played. You can revisit jigsaw puzzles that you own but haven't put together in a while, and they don't even have to be fall themed. If you have a streaming subscription like Netflix, then you can make a bucket list for fall movies you want to watch, or revisit old cozy shows that you haven't seen in a while. When it comes to crafts and creative hobbies, to make this low cost, I would really suggest challenging yourself to make something out of the materials you already have. And I really think that this is what it means to be creative. It's just being resourceful. So saving pasta jars to make simmer pot gifts out of, or using them as decor. If you're like me and you like crocheting, try using the yarn you already have before you buy more. Like I said, you cannot go wrong crocheting a pumpkin for decor around your home, but you can also crochet things like beanies, scarves, pot holders, or just a series of granny squares and figure out what project you want to make with them later. If you have clay, then you can make some trinket dishes or even fall-themed magnets for your fridge. If you have coloring books, now's a great time to bring those out. You can also create a mood board or a vision board just for the fall season. This is something that I really like doing. I no longer really make vision boards for the entire year. Instead, I like to break it up into quarters or for seasons. You can also go through any notebooks that you already have that are empty and start a brand new seasonal bullet journal. This one's a little more specific, but if you have a scrapbook or the materials for a scrapbook or a junk journal, now's a great time to actually start before the end of the year, and you can make a whole 2025 recap book. You can also make this the season where you finish any projects that you've started and want to close out. For me, I have a Lego set that I started 2 years ago and haven't finished, and it is on my fall bucket list to finish it. I also have another Lego set that I was gifted. I have tons of crochet projects that still need finishing. I actually had half of a crocheted pumpkin that I started last year and decided to finish up this year. So sometimes I feel like we forget that that's an option. We don't have to start all over. We can just finish what we started. And lastly, let's talk about slowing down and self-care. I think it's so important to understand what it is that you really want to feel and experience this season and not what somebody else is telling you that you should. And really, the best person to ask that is yourself. So I love using journaling as a tool for this. Some questions you can ask yourself are, what do you want this season to feel and look like? And go into detail. What are you ready to let go of this season? What habits do you want to nurture this fall? And what's something that you want to focus on or give a little bit more attention to this season? And this doesn't have to be anything specific. It doesn't have to be a really, really big goal. That's not the purpose of this. For me, it's just my relationships. I want to be more present in my relationships. I want to spend more time with friends, family, and in community. And I want to say yes to more invites and go to more events. As far as self-care and routines, some simple, low cost, and easy things you can do are waking up like 20 minutes earlier and going for just a 5 to 10 minute walk to enjoy the fall crisp air. Replacing your scrolling time in the morning or in the evening with just a 5-minute journaling practice. You can refresh your space by setting out your favorite blanket, your favorite hoodie or sweater, and a book that you want to read this season, and using lotions or face masks that you already have to pamper yourself. I think a mindset shift that has really helped me with the overwhelm of consumption, especially in the fall, is just asking myself, how can I create more than I consume in as many ways as possible? So when it comes to decor, what can I make with what I already have, or how can I make the most out of what I already have? When it comes to food, instead of buying pre-packaged things, I ask myself, what can I make with the ingredients that I already have? And for hobbies, instead of buying more materials, I ask myself, what can I create out of the materials I already have? And when it comes to self-care, instead of buying more lotions for the sake of self-care, I ask myself, what is it that I am trying to feel, and how can I get that need met with what I already have first? So those are all of my thoughts. Just know that you do not have to buy more in order to have a cozy fall season. It is perfectly fine if you use what you already have. You're not missing out on everything, and there's always next year. Just because you might not do everything you want this year doesn't mean that fall won't come again. Leave a comment letting me know which thought you found the most helpful and what you are looking forward to this fall that doesn't involve consuming more.